This is ESPN Esports. I'm Arda Ocal. Happy to be joined by Wunder. G2 going 1-1 this weekend. Very dramatic fashion after losing to Schalke on Friday. They disposed of the top of the table Rogue on Saturday. What a roller coaster, Wunder. What a weekend it's been for G2.
Yeah, it's been crazy, man. We are, we were 5-7 before today, beating Rogue, right? Which is a well-needed win for us, since we are planning to make playoffs, right? And to make playoffs, you kind of need to be up there in the standings, and it hasn't been looking so good for us. We have been like on a four losing streak before this win today, which we have never been like before in the history of this roster together. We have never lost 4 games in a row, so yeah, we have been like sweating a bit for the wins, and today was also like a banger of a game, honestly, like lane swapping against us, and it was looking really hard to play early on in the game, but yeah, we managed to come back, and it's a roller coaster, but a win is a win in the end.
I want to go in order, so I definitely will ask about the Rogue lane swap in a minute, but take me into the moments after the Schalke loss. Like, what was the communication like with the team? Did it feel like an all-time low in the split after that loss?
I don't know if it felt like an all-time low. I would say we actually had that like earlier in the split, like week 2, week 3, around there. I think against Schalke, I would say we had like a very good scrim week coming into this week. Kind of knew like what champs we wanted to play, but I think in the end, in draft, we kind of just picked something we were not like too used to, or like we had like a fine base draft, like a foundation, but then we rounded it out with picks that we were not like used to playing with, which made it hard for us to play later on in the game. And I think today we actually had a good draft. But yeah, I mean, again, before, like after we lost against Schalke, we were of course like all very tilted, because all games matter, right? Like, and if we lose against Schalke, who actually, like, to be fair, they played quite well, right? But if we lose against them, then it's gonna be rough, right, making it to playoffs. But today we kind of bounced back low key, even though the game was hard as well. So I'm not sure. I think we just were. I mean, we had to play a game after that as well. We had to play against Rogue the following day, so we couldn't like just throw our towels in the ring, right? We had to still keep on grinding.
So let's talk about Rogue, starting with the draft. The commentators were noting that a lot of the champions that were picked by G2 were ones that we haven't normally seen from G2 this split anyway. So just take me through the game plan and the process of the draft and whether you guys were happy with it afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rogue had like a pretty good preparation coming into the draft, and we were like we were, I guess, like I would say our champion pools this season hasn't been like all too good, so we are getting kind of challenged, and I guess our depth in champion pool, and I think today also kind of showed that. We played like some champions that, as you said, we haven't played that much, but we also know like what makes sense and what makes a good draft. I think our read on the meta is, even though our drafting could be better, I think our read on the meta is kind of clear. It's like at least at the same level as every other LEC team, which I think helps us in a way that even though we are not too confident on a champion, we know we can pick it and it will make sense. We could obviously play it better if it was more practiced, but I think we just picked champions that we thought would make sense in the meta, and that's like kind of how I guess we managed to make this draft happen today.
It's interesting because Grabs did an interview with Adel Chouadria yesterday where he talked about the meta, and he said the main impact is that we're not quite sure where the meta lies. So how do you feel about G2 and your team, you and your team, and how you've progressed with the meta now after this game?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think every single week prior to this one, we were like our preparation coming into the week was really bad. It could have came from only having, for example, 2 scrim days, or just like having all like bad practice, and like yeah, I mean, I guess just like all it comes down to that. But this week I actually felt like we prepared quite well, and we played a select few champions, where in the past we were kind of just play everything, and we would be all over the place, which made drafting, to be fair, like harder, because once those champions were gone, there was not a good situation for them. It was hard to draft, but we we kind of understood like the few comps that we were playing leading up to this week. We understood how they worked, and we thought they were actually strong in this meta. So that's why I think this week we had a better read on the meta than all the other weeks where we basically didn't have like any information. We were kind of just jumping into it, and if it worked, it worked, right? But yeah.
I can't wait. I hope that the G2 content team release a video of the comms in early game, because I really want to hear how you guys were reacting to this role swap, or lane swap, I should say, from Rogue. Just give me a hint. Like, just take me into your inner monologue and what the comms were like when you saw Hansama and Vander coming up to top lane.
Well, first of all, I think well, you could kind of see it coming, right? Because their set was showing on our vision at like 120, right? Before, like basically at a point where he couldn't make it to his own camp. So we kind of knew that they would invade or like do something. I mean, at least we knew something was up, right? And the Cyan lane swap is actually something we have done in the past as well. I think on stage 2, honestly, with Senna Cyan lane, where we swapped in playoffs, I think last split. But we were kind of caught off guard anyways, since no one really does it. We haven't played against it in like, yeah, basically like 5-6 months or whatever. And we were kind of the only ones doing it as well when that was the thing. So I think it just came down to, I don't actually know, like just thinking about it now, what we could have done really different. Since I think they're, like we had Senna, Bard, Kha'Zix, right, as our bot jungle, which I don't think does very well in swaps at all. Like we don't hit towers, we don't really dive very well. And they had like Aphelios, Nautilus, and Set, which kind of does everything, you know? So I think even despite the 5-minute protection, whatever there's on towers, Cyan can hold really easily against us. We traded 1-for-1 and a 1v4, right? Which is not normal. And I think if I go top, even if it's just Nautilus Aphelios, they could probably dive me. But for sure with Set, they can like for sure dive me without dying, which makes it, yeah, I guess really hard for us. So we were just kind of lost in the game, but we also like just tried to get all the farm that we could get on me, who had to like kind of come back in the game after the early game. Yeah.
So let's talk about the Baron steal, which was really the turning point there. Rogue were at least in the lead there, and then all of a sudden, G2 steals Baron, the tides turn, G2 takes the game. Like, just take me through that moment and, how much that built the confidence in the team.
Yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if Perks or Yankos got caught or something before that. So we were like for sure giving up Nash. At least like in the sense that I'm not moving to it. I was just pushing bot lane, I think. And then Miki and Caps talked together. They talked about trying to steal it because I mean Syndra is pretty good at stealing it, kind of like Orianna. There's like a lot of games that where mid laners actually just kind of steal Nash. And Miki was playing Bard, so they were thinking about like Bard ulting their jungler so you couldn't smite while Syndra was stealing it. But it's also like really awkward to do, right? I think in the end, Set still had like a chance to smite it, like he was out of Bard ult, but Syndra damage was just like too high, right? So we were just, I mean, we knew the game was hard. I think if Rogue played more for like Dragon Souls, like they were one Drake away from Soul, I think they would have like really free win. So I think, yeah, I mean, I think just in the end, it came down to like, they could have for sure won this game really, really easily if they, I don't know if they were trying to hurry too much or something instead of just getting the Drake Soul and then getting Nash slowly. But yeah, I mean, we also did like some miracle plays to come back, I guess.
So this weekend, you lose to the worst team in the LEC and you beat the best team in the LEC, or at least in terms of standings. In terms of the standings. How important is that? When you look back on this victory against Rogue, how important is that for the team morale and the fact that now you're still in playoff contention, whereas if you had lost this game, G2 would be at least this week out of the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I think winning against, winning for sure, no matter what team, like helps our morale, of course, because you reach a point at some point where it's not in your own hands if you make playoffs or not. And of course, we would never want to be in that situation. So every win we can get right now is, of course, like really beneficial for us. I think we can, at best, go like 11 wins. So if we get every single win from now on until the end, it's still in our own hands basically. But I think winning against Rogue in particular doesn't mean that much. I think it doesn't really matter to me if we win against Schalke and lose to Rogue, or the other way around, you know, because I don't really view Rogue. Basically, this split has been like a really big fiesta, anyways. I don't actually think Rogue is a very good team. Personally, I don't feel like proud. Wow, we beat Rogue. They're such a good team. We are so insane now, you know, or anything like this. I think in a BO5, realistically, I could never see us losing to Rogue ever. Maybe one game out of 5. So I just maybe you could say like that's because we are cocky or we should be more humble or anything like this, right? But yeah, I just basically don't view Rogue as a very strong team, and I don't really have any pride in winning against them.
So is the sentiment, listen, we just got to make playoffs and we know we're going to perform there?
I mean, it's hard to say if I know we are gonna perform there, because the split has been way worse than all other splits we have played. So of course, it's very hard to say right now. But I think in a BO5 against Rogue, I would consider us the favorites, even if we qualify as sixth place in the regular split. I would even see us as favorites against any team, basically. So it's for sure what matters the most to us is making it. I mean, if we don't make it, we can't prove ourselves anyways, and
of course,
maybe no one will ever know, right? But yeah, making it, and I think if we make it, we have a really good shot at, I guess, winning the split again.
My last question for you is, this team is going to stay together no matter what, at least in terms of the contract extensions. You guys are now signed till November 2022. Of course, anything can happen, but at least contractually, for the foreseeable future, you will be wearing G2 colors. How important was it for you and the rest of your teammates to stay together no matter what happened this split?
I mean, when signing the contract, it was basically non-negotiable that we basically had to stay together. I mean, we were all signing on the premise that we would stay together as a team, as us players right now, and even coaching staff. So I think of course it's very important to us. We have a lot of good times together. We also have some rough patches, right? But I think every team has that. I think we just we figure it out together really well, and we don't really have a lot of glaring issues that are really hard to fix like some other teams have. So it just makes sense to stay together and ride it out, however long it's gonna last. There's not a lot of teams staying together for a very long time, so maybe in the end we'll have to part ways at some point. But as of right now, even though the split has been not the greatest, I think it will still work out for us.
Well, even though G2 hasn't had the best split in their recent history, still 6 and 7, tied for 5th, still in playoff contention. Wunder joining us here on ESPN Esports. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.